Hi, and welcome to the world of PHspeed. My name is Rosie, and in this series of videos, I will introduce PHspeed version 2.0. A progressive web application, PWA, commonly known as a progressive web app, is an application that looks like a traditional mobile app. They do not require separate bundling or distribution. In fact, to build a PWA, you only need to fulfill a number of qualifications. Building progressive web applications in PHspeed is very easy, as I will show you in this short video. The feature is available as of PHspeed version 2.2. For this demo, I will create a very simple application to maintain a shopping list. You can add items, and once bought you can then remove them. As more members of the family can share the app, it prevents buying things double. To maintain the shopping list, I need a database table with items on the shopping list. Here I use MariaDB. I need two fields, a key field, which I create as an integer primary key, and a free description field. To be able to use the database in my project, I have created a database connection. If you use MySQL or MariaDB, then the required PDO definition is standard, otherwise you can add it. So let me create the shopping list project. This procedure is the same for each project you make. Define a project name, supply data for your connection, choose a theme and layout, and click the Create button. The next thing to do is to create a maintenance function for the items, and the fastest way to do so is to make use of the application wizard. As I want to make an app, I choose a single field per line and use a direct update function for the records. If you own the product or a trial, then I invite you to test the other options out or watch the other videos. After generating the code, I will not change much as this video is about building an app, but you can customize almost everything. So the main things that I want to change here are to remove items on the form that are not used, and change the coloring of the selected row. A final thing to change is to make the key field on the modal form invisible. I also want to remove the unused buttons from the toolbar. I will not go into detail about changing properties and configuring the components. These are covered in our introduction videos. It is time to create the progressive web application part. You find the settings in the project options. In this form, you have to set up a few things. First, you need to enable PWA. Then enter some description fields so that the app gets a title. I advise keeping the name and short name the same and simple, but you don't have to. In this sample, I will use a background image so that the background color is of less importance, but depending on your requirements, you can change them. The scope is very important. By default, PHsPeed will set this to your project folder, as the scope is actually the folder where your application is deployed. So when you deploy your application on a different server, you need to adjust. This is done when you promote your code for production. By default, PHsPeed assigns a main.php as the starter of each project. You can set this up in an index.html so that it starts up when you open the web page. However, in a progressive web application, index.html has a special meaning as it opens the splash screen and enables users to install the app or start through. In our case, we have to set the main application to our shopping list, as I haven't done anything to the main yet. As there are many mobiles with different resolutions, PWAs require several icons in various resolutions so that the mobile can decide which one to use. Not all are required per se, but as PHsPeed can generate them automatically, why not use it? First, I select a high-resolution image that I will use for the icons. Then I open the image editor and select the area I want to create icons of. Finally, I generate the icons. If you do not wish to use all the icons, unselect those you don't need. The PWA configuration is done, so now I will define the splash screen. I apply a background and logo and enter a text for the install and start buttons. We have now applied everything that we need to create our mobile app. Before testing, I will deploy the images that I defined in the PWA. If you want to test your web app on your desktop, you have to use Chrome. In my case, I have set up several browsers so that I can choose. You can do so yourself by adding the browsers to the PHsPeed preferences. The default application is index.html, so I change that in the browser. To be able to see if the application applies to the rules of a PWA, use function key F12 to open the Chrome debugger. Then select Lighthouse and click on Generate Report. After a short period, Chrome will report any issues found, but in this case, everything is well, and the green PWA check icon will appear. Of course, you can watch the generated PWA code, as this appears as a separate item in your project tree. To deploy the application, you have to follow the standard procedure. First, you need to promote your code for production. This will remove any debugging code that PHsPeed has added to your application. You also need to define the folder where you will upload your application. Second, you need to create the database in your production environment. The most convenient is to use a database tool to export your database as SQL and import that into your production environment. I will not show that step here, as it is not the same for everybody. Next, create your database reference file. There are several ways of doing that, but I will use the embedded utility that you can find in your database configuration. So summarizing the steps. I have created a very simple shopping list by generating it from the wizard and changed a few properties to make it look better. I have set up the PWA configuration and generated the required icons. I have promoted the generated code for production and created a database configuration file. I uploaded the project to the hosting server. I copied the database from my development environment to my hosting server. And now you can see the result. What you see here is the physical screen of the mobile that I use. I opened the index.html from the server, and now it allows me to install the page as an app. So let's do that. From now on, I have an icon on my mobile desktop, and when I click I get the result. Of course, you can improve this application, but as an example, I hope that you will have seen how easy it is to create a progressive web application using PHsPeed. The PWA behaves exactly as if it was run on your desktop environment. That is the big advantage of using a platform like Bootstrap. Customers will be able to download this demo application from our website and improve it with your own requirements. If you have any questions, please ask them on our forum. I hope you enjoyed this video.